If your VLOOKUP or XLOOKUP looks correct but returns negative NA, the problem is often not the formula. It's the data type. One side is a number, the other side is text that looks like a number. Excel treats those as different values, so the match fails. In this video, you'll learn a simple way to diagnose that mismatch fast. Then you'll see several reliable fixes, from quick one-off repairs to clean, scalable approaches. We'll also cover common traps like leading zeros, imported CSVs, and hidden spaces. And I'll show you how to make your lookups more resilient so this doesn't keep coming back. The goal is not just to patch one cell, it's to build a repeatable checklist you can use on any workbook. Once you understand what Excel is comparing under the hood, these errors become predictable and easy to eliminate. Next step. Let's get clear on what's happening. Excel stores values with types. A real number is numeric. Text is a string of characters. The tricky part is that text can look exactly like a number, like 1001, but still be text. When VLOOKUP or XLOOKUP compares the lookup value to the key column, it compares both the characters and the type. So numeric 1001 does not equal text 1001. That's why you can stare at two cells that look identical and still get no match. This is especially common when IDs come from exports, web systems, or copy-paste from emails. It also happens when someone adds an apostrophe, or when a column was formatted as text before data was entered. Once you accept that the match is type-sensitive, the fixes make sense. You either convert the lookup value, convert the key column, or normalize both sides in the formula. Next step. Before fixing anything, confirm the diagnosis. First, click a suspicious cell and look at the formula bar. If you see a leading apostrophe, it's text. Next, use a quick test. In an empty cell, type equals the cell plus 0. If the value changes or stops showing an error, the original was text. Another simple check is IS text and IS number. They tell you what Excel thinks the cell is, not what it looks like. Also watch for the green triangle warning that says number stored as text, but don't rely on it. It doesn't always appear. Finally, compare lengths. Len of text 1001 is 4, but a real number has no length in the same way, so you'll often see differences when you wrap it with text. The point is to verify, not guess, because there are other causes of NA too. Next step. Now let's do the fastest fix when your key column should be numeric. One approach is to convert the lookup value inside the formula. With XLOOKUP, you can wrap the lookup value in value. That forces text numbers into real numbers. For VLOOKUP, same idea. Value around the lookup cell. If value can't convert, it returns an error, so it's best when you're confident the text is purely numeric. Another quick option is to add 0, like A2 plus 0, which also coerces text numbers to numeric, or multiply by 1. These are lightweight and often enough to unblock you. The trade-off is that you're treating the symptom in the formula. If the underlying data keeps arriving as text, you'll keep needing coercion. Still, for dashboards and quick reports, coercion is a practical and safe first move. Next step. What if the opposite is true, and your IDs are supposed to be text? That's common for product codes, account numbers, and anything with leading zeros. In that case, converting to number can actually break the ID. So instead, convert the numeric side to text. The simplest method is text with a format that matches your IDs. For example, if IDs are always 5 digits, use text A2 0000. That preserves leading zeros. If the IDs are variable length and you just need a plain text version, you can use text A2 0, or simply concatenate an empty string like A2 and, then use that coerced text as the lookup value, or apply it to the key column. The key is consistency. Both sides must become the same type, and for codes, text is often the correct type, even if it looks numeric. Next step. Formula coercion is handy, but sometimes you want to fix the data itself. One clean method is the built-in text-to-columns trick. Select the column, run text to columns, keep the default settings, and finish. Even without splitting, Excel reparses the values and often converts text numbers into real numbers. Another option is paste special multiply. Type 1 in a cell, copy it, select the text number range, then paste special multiply. That forces numeric conversion in place. You can also use the warning icon, convert to number, but it's inconsistent for large ranges. The advantage of data conversion is performance and clarity. Your lookups stay simple, and other calculations behave as expected. The downside is governance. If the column is fed by imports, you may need to repeat the cleanup or automate it with Power Query. Next step, text versus number is the big one, but hidden characters can create the same looks identical problem. The most common is extra spaces. Trim removes leading and trailing spaces and collapses repeated internal spaces. But trim does not remove non-breaking spaces, which often come from web pages and copied reports. For that, use substitute to replace char 160 with a normal space, then trim. Another issue is invisible control characters, which clean can remove. A practical normalization pattern is trim clean substitute A2 char 160, then. If you apply this to both the lookup value and the key column, many mysterious mismatches disappear. Just remember that normalization changes the data. That's usually good for matching, but if spaces are meaningful in a code, you need to be careful. For typical IDs and names, it's a lifesaver. Next step. Let's talk about leading zeros and why they cause so much pain. If you have an ID, like 001234, the numeric value is just 1234. Once it becomes a number, the zeros are gone. Then your lookup fails if the other side still has 001234 as text. The fix is to decide what the ID truly is. In most businesses, that's a code, not a quantity, so it should be stored as text. You can enforce that by formatting the column as text before importing, or by using Power Query to set the data type. If you need to generate a text key from a number, use text with the correct zero padding. And if different systems use different lengths, create a standardized key column, like a helper column, that pads or trims consistently. The big takeaway is simple. You can't guess leading zeros after conversion. Next step. Now let's make your lookup formulas more robust without turning them into a mess. One approach is to create a dedicated helper column called something like MatchKey. In that column, you normalize the key once, convert type, trim spaces, remove non-breaking spaces. Then your XLOOKUP uses MatchKey on both sides. This keeps the main formula readable and reduces repeated work across thousands of rows. If you prefer an all-in-one formula, you can normalize inside XLOOKUP, but be mindful of performance because Excel may recalculate that logic many times. Also consider error handling. IFNA can return a clean message like no match while you debug. But don't hide errors too early. First, confirm that the key is normalized and unique. A robust lookup is not just about matching. It's about predictable inputs, a stable key, and a formula you can maintain 6 months later. Next step. A final checklist helps you solve almost every not matching case quickly. First, confirm both sides are the same type using ISText and ISNumber. Second, check for leading zeros and decide whether the key is a code or a number. Third, remove hidden characters with trim, clean, and the char 160 substitute pattern. Fourth, confirm the lookup range is correct and includes the full key column. Fifth, verify uniqueness. If your key has duplicates, XLOOKUP returns the first match, and VLOOKUP can return unexpected results. And finally, test with one known value you can manually verify. Once you get that one value to match, scale the fix. This checklist turns a frustrating Excel is broken moment into a structured debugging process. And after you've done it a few times, you'll spot text versus number issues almost instantly. Next step. To wrap up, the core idea is consistency. VLOOKUP and XLOOKUP don't fail randomly. They fail when the lookup value and the key don't match exactly in type and content. If you want the fastest fix, coerce the lookup value with value plus 0 or and depending on whether the key should be numeric or text. If you want the cleanest fix, convert the source data and standardize a MatchKey column that trims spaces and removes hidden characters. That one change makes every downstream formula more reliable. If you want, I can also cover related issues like approximate match settings, sorting requirements, and performance on large tables. But type mismatches are the #1 place to start. If this helped, subscribe for more practical Excel troubleshooting. And for a quick check-in, comment A or B. Do you prefer fixing the data at the source or adding coercion inside the formula? Next step. Here's a short recap you can keep in your head. If the lookup fails, assume type mismatch first. Test quickly with IsText, isNumber, or the +0 trick. If it's a numeric ID, convert text numbers to numbers using value or paste special multiply. If it's a code, convert numbers to text and pad zeros with text. Then, eliminate hidden characters with trim, clean, and char 160 substitution. Finally, protect your future self by creating one helper key that everything matches on. That's the difference between a workbook that constantly breaks and one that stays stable even when new data is pasted in. The best part is that none of these steps are advanced. They're just disciplined. And once you apply them, VLOOKUP and XLOOKUP become boring again, which is exactly what you want from a lookup function. I'm always testing new ways to work smarter. Subscribe to see what workflow I'm breaking down next.